it's Kid Explorer here, and I am back for another cooking experience. We're gonna travel from my home today to Trinidad. So we have another meal to unbox and prepare from the Spicery. And we will get into the spices in a moment, but today you're going to watch this American try cooking Trini Stew Beef with lime, pepper sauce, and sweetbread. So let's get into it. And of course, again, I'm Kita the Explorer, and here on my channel, I'll talk about all things travel, photography, and sustainability. So let's head on over and check out the spices. So really quickly, let's go through the spices. Looks like I have 7 spices here today to cook in a free sample. The free sample is tomato curry blend. Now, the rest of the spices we will be using today in our meal. Stew ground spices, bread spices, Kuchela spices or Kuchela spices, green bean spices, nutmeg, and it's like the actual nut, not grounded, pepper sauce blend, and finally stew whole spices. Okay, now let's go check out the ingredients we'll need for today's meal. Okay, so here are all of the ingredients we will need for today's meal. Let's go through each of these ingredients as quickly as possible. So, you know, I don't eat beef, but I'm gonna use 500 grams of chicken, or if you want to, you can use 500 grams of beef. Then you need 1 small butternut squash, pumpkin, or 750 grams of sweet potatoes. This is what I got for a sweet potato. Make it work. We need 200 grams of green beans. I clearly asked my shopper to get me fresh green beans, and these are frozen, not fresh green beans, but we'll work with that. 1 large carrot, 2 large onions, 4 cloves of garlic, 1 yellow pepper, 4 tomatoes, 1 large apple or mango, 1 lime. I don't want to lift this up back here, but 140 grams of butter, and also 2 eggs. That's why I don't want to lift it up. The eggs are on top. Then we need a mixture of dried fruit. So I have raisins and dried cranberries, and we need 250 grams of that. We need 50 grams of desiccated coconut, 260 grams of sugar, 250 grams of self-raising flour, and if you want rice to serve, I'm going to make some jasmine rice to go with my meal. So let's go and get to step 1. So for the first step, we are preparing the sweetbread. So just a few things that I did before I got into the preparation. First, I preheated the oven to 170 degrees Celsius, gas mark 3, or about 338 degrees Fahrenheit. And I greased and lined a loaf tin with baking parchment paper. I also soaked the desiccated coconut in 120 milliliters freshly boiled water from the kettle. But now you see me here with butter melted, 120 grams of it, and then I'm mixing 200 grams of sugar until fully combined. So now I'm going to mix in the eggs and soak coconut, including all of the soaking liquid, and then stir in the dried fruit, flour, bread spices, about 20 grates of nutmeg, and a pinch of salt until everything is fully combined and you have a thick batter. Once that is done, I will spoon the batter into the tin pan, sprinkle 1 tablespoon of sugar over the top, then bake for 50 minutes or until the cake is golden and a skewer inserted into the center comes out clean, and you will allow it to cool once it comes out of the oven. Now in step 2, we are going to start preparing the Trini Stew Beef or chicken or whatever meat you choose. So first off, we're going to heat the remaining 3 tablespoons sugar with 2 tablespoons oil until the sugar first turns to liquid, then starts to turn very slightly darker brown. Be incredibly careful as the sugar gets hot. Now mind you, I turned my back for 1 second and it got darker than I would like it. So just watch it if you plan to do this. Then you're going to very carefully stir in the meat, thinly sliced onion, finely chopped garlic, half of the tomatoes, the stewed ground spices, and 1 teaspoon salt. Then cook for 15 minutes or until the tomatoes have broken down and the beef or chicken is starting to caramelize and stick to the bottom of the pan. And make sure you stir it occasionally. On to step 3, where we're going to start preparing the lime pepper sauce. So we're going to boil the whole garlic cloves and roughly chopped pepper for 10 minutes or until soft, then drain. I did not have whole garlic cloves, I just had to use this and I still followed the directions. Worked out perfectly fine for me. For step 4, we're back at the Trini stew. And this time we're going to stir the carrot, 300 milliliters water, and the stew whole spices into this meat mixture. Then cover and cook for 1.5 hours or until the meat is tender. You want to make sure you stir occasionally and add a splash of water when and if necessary. And just to note, it may take a bit longer because supermarket meat can be tougher than fresh meat. So let's get this stew going. In this step, we're finishing up the lime pepper sauce. So we're going to blend the drained garlic and pepper with the zest and juice of the lime, the pepper sauce blend spices, and a big pinch of salt to a coarse puree. And you can add a splash of water if necessary. Now let's talk a little bit about this meal as we prepare this sauce. So over the centuries, colonial rule and immigration have left Trinidad with an incredibly diverse ethnic mix of people from South America, Africa, India, Europe, and China. This is reflected in their food, as seen in this recipe for Trini Stew Beef. Stew has its roots in European cookery. The caramelization of sugar is distinctively Caribbean. And finally, there are some Chinese and South American flavorings in the form of 5-spice and habanero chili. The stew is served with a mashed squash, green beans, a fruity apple Kuchela, and the quintessential Trinidad lime pepper sauce. And for the dessert, as you saw, we have the Trini sweet bread packed full of dried fruit and coconut and flavored with cinnamon, ginger, and nutmeg. In the next step of our process, we're going to prepare the apple Kuchela. In this step, we're going to dry fry the apple for 2 minutes or until the juice is released and then evaporates. And we're going to stir frequently during this process. Once that's complete, we will add 1 tablespoon oil, the Kuchela spices, and a pinch of salt. Then cook for 1 minute or until everything is combined. Remove from the heat and leave to one side. In this step, we are going to prepare the butternut squash or pumpkin or potatoes. So, I have the sweet potatoes in place of the butternut squash. And so we're going to boil the squash or pumpkin or sweet potato in plenty of salted water for 20 minutes or until soft, and then you will drain it well. Now, if you decided you want rice, this will be a great time to start preparing the rice. Now for the green beans, we are going to first fry the finely chopped onion and pepper in 1 tablespoon oil for 5 minutes or until soft, which I did before filming this step. And then after you do that, we are going to stir in the green beans, remaining tomatoes, 100 milliliters water, the green bean spices, and a 1/4 teaspoon salt. Then cover and cook for 10 minutes or until the green beans are tender. Now for the final touches before we get to try out this meal. So we're going to mash the squash, pumpkin, or sweet potato with the remaining 20 grams butter until smooth, then stir in about 15 to 20 grates of nutmeg. And then you won't see me do this on screen, but you're going to remove the stewed whole spices from the stew, especially the habanero chili. So let's get this mixed up. I will say if you do not have enough sweet potato for this, you may not want to add the full 20 grams of butter because it was a little too buttery for me when I went to sit down and eat it. Okay, it is time for the taste test. I have finished this Trini Stew Beef chicken with lime pepper sauce and sweet bread. Let me get my fork. So first up is the butternut squash. I did sweet potato. You could use squash, sweet potato, or pumpkin, and sweet potato is my fave. So I decided to do that, and I know this tastes good because I love sweet potatoes. As good as I expected. Next up is the lime pepper sauce. It definitely came out different than I expected it to, but that's spicy. It's a surprise spicy, but it's spicy. Next up is the apple Kuchela. It smells different than I would expect it to. Interesting taste. I was expecting a sweeter taste than what it's giving. And I did make my rice tonight, but I don't need to taste rice. I know what rice, especially jasmine rice, tastes like. It's still hot. I don't know if you can see the steam coming off of it, but this is the Trini Stew Beef. And then in my case, the Trini Stew Chicken. It smells so good and it looks really good. So I'm just gonna grab a little bite. That is really good. All right, this is the green bean, I don't know, casserole type thing, but it's just called green beans with stuff in it. But I like green beans. It's still hot too. Oops, and I dropped it. That's good. I'm using a new fork for this sweet bread because this bread, when I pulled it out the oven, I was like, oh, it looks so good. Just look at this one more time. Like, look at that, it's so good. Okay, let's see if I can, it's so pretty. I don't want to mess it up. I'm just gonna get a little bit in this corner here. And this is what is gonna be served for the dessert, the sweet bread. Oh yes. Excellent. Excellent. This bread's so good. Now let me insert a clip of my entire meal put together on a plate and tell you how I like everything together. Here's my entire plate. As you can see, I have everything on here except for the sauces, but I really love the green beans, of course, the sweet bread and the rice. But the stew, I really love the flavor of the stew, but that spice did not work well for me. That was a first. I could not digest it that well, so I ended up not being able to eat all of it, which was very unfortunate. And the sweet potato, like I mentioned earlier, it could have had less butter for me to really enjoy it. Okay, explorers, I really hope you enjoyed this video and seeing this American try this Trini Stew Beef, or Trini Stew Chicken meal in my case, and this sweet bread. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit the like button. Please don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. It is free for you to do so and helps me provide more and better content to you in the future. And if you're already a subscriber, thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. Make sure you share this video with your friends, family, and social media networks. If you have any questions about this video or comments about this video, leave that down below in the comment box. And also make sure you click down below and purchase you a Keto Explorer shirt or sweater. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day or night wherever in the world you are. Bye.